People don't realize how expensive a single yes can be. Not in money, but in time, energy, and emotional bandwidth. You might think saying yes is harmless. It's polite, it's agreeable, it avoids conflict. But what you're actually doing is handing out pieces of yourself without ever checking how much is left in the tank. And most people, when they ask you for something, are not looking at your tank. They're not thinking about your schedule, your energy level, or the fact that you've already got 5 other obligations stacked on top of each other. They're thinking about their need, their problem, their moment. And if you make a habit of answering those moments with yes, just to keep the peace, eventually you'll have no peace left to keep. The problem is, a lot of us were trained from early on to associate no with being rude, selfish, or difficult. Somewhere along the way, no became a word we avoided unless we had a bulletproof excuse, a backup alibi, or a 10-minute explanation ready to soften the blow. We start padding it with unnecessary phrases. I'm so sorry, but, or I'd love to, but I just, and here's the thing. Every time you over-explain your no, you're unintentionally telling the other person that your boundaries are negotiable. That maybe if they push a little harder, you might find a way to make it work. And people who are persistent, especially the ones who benefit from your over-yes-ing, will take that as an invitation to keep trying. Protecting your no doesn't mean becoming cold or unapproachable. It means understanding that every time you say yes to something you don't want or need to do, you are saying no to something else that probably matters more. That something else might be rest, time with your family, focus on your personal goals, or just space to breathe. And space to breathe is not a luxury, it's oxygen. You can't run at full speed without it, not forever. People sometimes ask, but what if I lose opportunities by saying no? And yes, that's a possibility. But here's the question. What's the cost of keeping the wrong opportunities? Yes, that stretches you too thin, burns you out, or puts you in situations you resent ends up costing more than it gives back. It's like taking a job with a higher paycheck, but a toxic boss. On paper, it looks good, but in practice, it drains you so badly you'd pay someone just to make it stop. That's what happens when you say yes to everything. You start negotiating against your own happiness. A strong no is simple. It doesn't come with a PowerPoint presentation explaining why you can't make it. It's just, no, I can't. Or, no, that's not going to work for me. Short, clear, done. Because the truth is, people who respect you don't need paragraphs to accept your boundaries. And the ones who do demand paragraphs, they're often the ones who benefit most from you not having boundaries. That's why the strength of your no is less about the word itself and more about your comfort in letting it stand on its own without apology or justification. There's also the unspoken truth that a lot of over-yes-ing comes from fear of disappointing people, fear of missing out, fear of conflict, fear of being labeled difficult. But when fear is driving your choices, you stop making them from a place of clarity. You start saying yes because it's easier in the moment, even though it's harder in the long run. It's like putting off cleaning the kitchen. You get a moment of relief, but later you're stuck with a bigger mess. Every yes you give without meaning it is a mess you'll have to clean up later, usually in the form of stress, resentment, or exhaustion. When you protect your no, you are protecting the quality of your yayas. You make sure that when you do say yes, it comes from a place of genuine willingness, not obligation. People can feel the difference. Yes, given from overflow, from having the time, energy, and desire to follow through, has a completely different weight than a yes, squeezed out of guilt or pressure. And in the long run, those genuine yeses are the ones that build trust and respect. People will learn that when you agree to something, you actually mean it, and you'll show up fully because you chose it. Protecting your no also teaches you something about yourself. It forces you to get clear on what you value, what you need, and where your limits are. You can't draw boundaries without knowing your own edges. And the process of finding those edges, of recognizing the early signs of overwhelm or irritation, is part of self-awareness. You start noticing the patterns, which kinds of requests make you groan inside, which people tend to overstep, which situations you agree to and then regret. And once you see the patterns, you can act before you're knee deep in another commitment you wish you hadn't made. And here's something people don't talk about enough. When you first start protecting your no, some people will not like it. They might push back. They might act confused, hurt, or even angry. That's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're changing a dynamic they were comfortable with. If someone's used to you always saying yes, your no feels like a loss to them. But it's not a loss. It's a recalibration. And the people worth keeping in your life will adjust. They'll learn to ask without assuming, to accept your limits without questioning your character. The others, well, their reaction tells you something important. It's also worth mentioning that protecting your no is not about being inflexible. There will be times when you choose to say yes, even if it's inconvenient, because it aligns with something bigger. Maybe it supports someone you love. Maybe it serves a goal you care about. Maybe it's just the right thing to do. But in those cases, you're choosing from a place of agency, not compulsion. You're bending because you want to, not because you're afraid not to. And once you get comfortable with this, something shifts. You stop feeling like you're constantly on the defensive, fending off other people's demands. You start feeling like you're in control of your time and energy again. You start making space for the things that matter most to you. And you actually have the capacity to enjoy them. That's the payoff. That's the reason you guard your no like it's gold. Because in a way, it is. The first thing most people see when they wake up isn't the sunlight through the blinds or the face of someone they love. It's a glowing rectangle filled with other people's priorities. That screen, that feed, that endless scroll, it's designed to grab you before you even have the chance to think for yourself. And the truth is, the moment you check your phone in the morning, you've handed over control of your mood to a machine. Your brain is still waking up, still setting its baseline for the day, and now it's processing emails, news alerts, or somebody's vacation photos. It's like letting a stranger walk into your bedroom and start talking before you've even had a glass of water. Feeding your mind before your phone is about choosing what you let in first. Because the first thing you consume in the morning is like the first ingredient in a recipe. It flavors everything that comes after. If that first ingredient is drama, outrage, or comparison, your whole day has to work twice as hard to shake it off. But if that first ingredient is calm, focus, or gratitude, you've already built a foundation that can handle whatever comes next. It doesn't have to be complicated. It might be a page from a book that inspires you. It might be a quiet 5 minutes to think about what you actually want out of the next 12 hours. It might be journaling one sentence about what you're grateful for. The point isn't to perform some elaborate morning ritual. It's to claim the first few moments of your day for yourself before the rest of the world gets a say. Phones are powerful tools, but they're also powerful thieves. They steal attention in small, silent increments. A quick check turns into 10 minutes. 10 minutes turns into an email reply. An email reply turns into just one video, and suddenly, you're running late for everything else you actually care about. That's why the morning is such a crucial time to guard. Your willpower is fresh. Your mind hasn't yet been cluttered with noise. You have the rare chance to start clean, but only if you protect it. When you feed your mind first, you're telling yourself you matter. You're saying, before I respond to the world, I'm going to prepare myself for it. That might mean learning something new. It might mean reminding yourself of your values. It might mean sitting in silence long enough to hear your own thoughts. All of these are ways of strengthening the filter that determines what gets into your mental space later in the day. And the stronger that filter is, the less likely you are to be thrown off by every headline, every ping, every opinion that flies across your feed. The resistance people feel to doing this often comes from habit, not necessity. Most of the things we check first thing in the morning could easily wait 20 minutes, 30 minutes, even an hour. But the habit is so ingrained that it feels like we're missing something if we don't look right away. That's not urgency. That's conditioning. And the only way to break it is to replace it. Give yourself something else to do when you wake up that feels grounding, that feels like an investment. It could be stretching, sipping tea in silence, or even just opening the window and taking a deep breath before you pick up your device. You're creating a buffer, and that buffer is what keeps you in charge. Over time, this small shift starts to change the way you interact with your phone in general. You stop treating it like a lifeline and start treating it like a tool. You use it when you need it, not when it demands you. You stop letting it dictate your first thoughts and your first emotions. And when the day inevitably gets loud, you have a clearer, calmer base to come back to.